Welcome to episode 23 of the Jake Blanchard podcast. As always, we're brought to you by Fellowship Brand, men's premium grooming products. The folks at Fellowship Brand have been so awesome. They've got great products, and my beard is definitely better for it. So check them out at fellowshipbrand.com or on Instagram at fellowship_brand. My guest today is Dereak Messer. He is the singer of the American hard rock ensemble from Dallas, Texas, Messer. Messer's released 3 singles in addition to their self-titled album. And then their song, Make This Life, hit number 28 on the Billboard Mainstream Rock Songs in 2018. I'm a fan. I've seen these guys live. They put on an awesome show. They produce awesome music. So I'm really excited to have Dereak on the podcast. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about Dereak and knife making. He's the co-owner of the Two-Headed Dog Knife Works in Texas. And alongside our discussion around music, we're just going to talk about making knives, man, which is a subject I know very little about, and I'm excited to learn a lot more. So Dereak, welcome to the podcast, brother.
What's up, Jake? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing really good. Out here just outside of Boise, Idaho.
Love Boise, man. God, so many good times there.
Yeah, it's a cool spot, man. It's been, obviously strange times here coming out of 2020, but just, love going to live music, love seeing rock shows. That's my passion. And from a music standpoint, you guys are no exception. You guys are rocking, man. How's Messer? What's going on right now?
Well, right now, man, things are quiet kind of on the home front, kind of 2020 kind of put a hold on everything, shut everything down. I mean, it really closed pretty much every venue around here, all the bars, every place that a band could play pretty much was shut down. There are a few places kind of open back up now, doing mainly live streams from their location, limited crowds, type of thing. We did do a show, God, I bet it's been almost a year ago now, a live stream like that as well. But man, other than that, man, things are kind of quiet, not a lot to do, not a lot of places to play.
Dude, you guys were coming off a ton of touring as well. And 2018, huge year for you guys. I mean, just you guys played with bands like Red, Gemini Syndrome, Royal Bliss, Pop Evil, a handful of stops on Vans Warped Tour, Scott Stapp from Creed. Like, dude, you guys were
Evil, Joyous Wolf.
Yeah, so many more to name for sure. What a probably a crazy ride, and then all of a sudden just stops.
Man, yeah, 2019, end of 2019. I mean, 2019, I think we were only home maybe a month and a half out of the whole year. I mean, we were just, hardcore on the road every night. If we weren't playing a show, we were driving to the next show. Sometimes we were playing that show, jumping in the bus and driving to the next town that same night to make it to a radio interview the next morning by 7 or 8 in the morning. So, 2019 was insane for us, 2018 as well. So we were looking, to basically get into the studio the beginning of 2020 and, get right back out there. And then the virus hit, shut everything down, and just kind of put the halt on everything, which, for us was a little bit of a blessing at the same time, because we had all been gone from our families and home so long that it was kind of nice for a minute just to unwind. Not necessarily under those circumstances, but it was nice to take a breath and just kind of, hang out with your kids and dogs again for a minute.
Oh, for sure. And, I got a chance to meet you. The only reason I remember the date, August 28th, it was my wife's birthday. And nice, I convinced her. We were going out to dinner, and I knew you guys were playing. You're playing with Gemini Syndrome here in Boise, and had tickets and had a couple friends going. So
right on.
I was like, man, let's go check out Messer. Weird night, power outages and all kinds of weird stuff happening there at the venue.
Yeah, I do remember that, man. Yeah, that's, and especially when you got bands like us that, because our live show, is what we're known for, the production level. And the same with Gemini Syndrome, those guys too, they bring a lot of energy and stuff too. And to have and keep shutting down on you, it's just like so frustrating. It's like, we just want to rock, man.
But you guys were so cool though, because you came out, you hung out with different people who had come to support the show. Got a chance to chat a little bit, and it's definitely one of my favorite concert going experiences. So again, I appreciate you guys taking the time, man.
Very cool, man. Well, that's glad to be part of that memory for you guys.
For sure. Hey, I want to know how the band came together. How did Messer, like, what's the genesis?
Man, well, I tell you what, it's been a crazy story. I had met Javier years ago through a mutual friend of ours. And then we met again a year later, and we didn't realize we'd met before until she reminded us, hey, you guys knew each other. I was like, oh, yeah. Anyway, he had some ideas, some riffs, and, we're like, hey, man, let's do something, Neither one of us were doing much in the way of music at that time. So we threw around some ideas, and that's when we got with our drummer, Kenny, as well. And Kenny was our Canadian connection. He's from Canada.
He's got the long hair and the
long red hair. Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
So basically we were doing some music, and I went to get my hair cut at a Tony and Guy, and Maddox, our bass player, happened to be a Tony and Guy hairstylist.
Okay.
So we started talking about music. He's tatted up like we are. We started talking about music, and turns out he plays music as well. We're like, hey, well, maybe you should check out some of these ideas that we're doing. And man, it was kind of serendipitous, man. Everything just kind of pulled together. And then we had a tattoo artist that had been tattooing some of the guys, and we were getting ready to do that album. We're like, man, this album's going to be real guitar heavy. So, we're going to have to add another guitar player, So Donnie DeVille, who had been tattooing Maddox and Kenny some, they're like, let's bring Donnie and let him check it out, because he's been playing guitar and he had some riffs himself. And it was the perfect fifth member, pulled together. And then we met up with our producer, Chad Gendison. We were doing a show out in LA, and our tour manager at the time knew Chad Gendison, our producer out of Silver Lake, really well. And he's like, man, you got to come check these guys out. My boys in Messer, they're going to blow your mind. And we played that show. And after the show, I think it was at the Cat Club on Sunset, he came up to me and said, I don't know what your plans are, where you're staying, but cancel them. You're going to stay at my house. We're going to write a hit song. And that's it.
That's rad,
so
man.
We played that thing. We went to his house, and the next day we pretty much put together Simple Man. And that's where that whole thing inspired from. Right there, we came into that, and we just kind of had this synergy that was just, it was really cool, So we're like, man, we got to do something else, So decided to do a whole album.
Well, that's good, man. And what a great track that Simple Man is. Like, what was the writing process? Like, does it start with a riff and then kind of build on from there? Do you guys?
Yeah. Sometimes, we wrote that one with our producer Chad, and sometimes it starts off with a riff. Sometimes you might just have a cool riff. Sometimes it's an idea. Here's an idea for that. And that one kind of was the same way. It was kind of the riff that started it, and then the idea came along, for it, and we wanted that strong song, really strong, powerful song to come out to, and that's where it, we came up with Simple Man, and we, it just felt like it had that radio friendly vibe, but it still was a driving, song, and it did pretty well for us.
Take me a little bit further, maybe kind of behind the curtain, if you don't mind, as far as like what it's like to be in a band that's writing music, that's touring, that's in close proximities with one another all the time, with all kinds of different distractions out there. Like, what is that process like from someone like me?
It's challenging. You basically, especially living on a bus, with 7 guys, there's 7 of us. We had 2 road guys out with us too, a sound man and our merch guy. And to go from being at home, yourself, you're living in your own place, you have your own routine, to all of a sudden you're dealing with 7 other guys' routines on a bus, it can be very, very stressful. But, when it comes time to do that show and you get up on stage, man, it makes it all worth it. But, it's a lot to it. You're getting up, driving sometimes all night long after a show, leaving Boise. I remember leaving there a bunch of times, and having to drive out of that area to make it to the next town by the next morning, little sleep, you're eating out of truck stops, there's a lot to it, a lot more than people see. It's not, we just don't pull up and jump up on stage,
Yeah. And then as part of this journey, what's been one of the favorite parts so far of your musical career, your musical journey?
Man, we've done so many fun shows, meeting the people that we've got to meet, and now that we can call friends, like Scott Stapp, Lee from Pop Evil. The guys in Gemini, it's just meeting those guys in Royal Bliss and Joyous Wolf. You become friends with these guys, and it's fun to watch their careers, go, and then you get to hang out every night, and that side of it's pretty cool. That's the romantic side of the whole thing, but then there's a lot of work. But show wise, and we played so many really cool shows. Me personally, one of my cool things, I got to open up for Metallica here. I got to do a Motorhead song, which was pretty cool.
That's
Local H, man. It was with Local H too.
that's rad, man. When was that?
Do you remember Local H?
Yeah.
Yeah, that song, it's
Yeah, just don't
copacetic,
get it.
whatever.
Just,
Yeah,
yeah,
you just don't get it. Well, we were in this contest. It was a contest to open up 5 shows with Metallica, stadium shows, 5 stadium shows, huge shows. And it was us, another band here from Mothership from Dallas, Local H. You know, it was supposed to be unsigned bands, but somehow or
yeah,
another Local H got themselves into it somehow.
yeah.
And a couple other bands. One band out of what were they called? Shattered Sun. I
Okay.
think they were out of San Antonio. And one other band like out of Ohio. And we were in this contest, you know, and it's all based on votes, you know, fans, you know, voting for you every single day. It went on for like, you know, a month. And it got down to like, we were in the top, I think we were in second place for a while. And then we pulled up to first place on this thing. And then a week before the deal, they pulled down all the rankings so you couldn't see. You had no idea who was in the lead. And we're like, well, that seems kind of shady. And then all of a sudden they said that Local H won.
Okay.
And we're like, well, first off, they're not a local band. They're not an unsigned band. They've had hits, you know. So we were like, you know, it was still a cool event. You know, Metallica mentioned us on their site. You know, it was really cool to do that.
Yeah.
And then 3 days before they were supposed to play the Dallas show here where the Cowboys play, Scott from Local H hit me up on Facebook and said, hey, you know, we're going to be coming through there playing. Would you like to get up and do a song? And I'm like, sure, let's do it.
Heck
you know?
yeah, man. That's so cool.
And so he picks a Motorhead song, We Are the Road Crew. I don't know if you know that song, but there's a lot of words, it's super fast. And I'm like, 3 days to learn this before you play, you know, for Metallica. So, man, we did it. You know, it was really cool. We only rehearsed the thing. I, you know, got to the stadium probably an hour before they went on stage, went to their dressing room, and it's like, Scott's like, well, you think we should run through it? And we're like, yeah, probably should.
Yeah, maybe.
So he's just strumming on his unplugged electric guitar, and the drummer has a drum pad, one drum pad. And that's how we ran through the song before we went out and played it. So
Dude,
that was a pretty cool moment.
How awesome is that? So, I mean, you guys are, you know, obviously really blowing up the scene. You guys have been a band for what, 5-6 years now?
Oh,
Or
man, longer than that. It's been a little over 10 years.
okay.
Yeah. We were together for a while. Then we literally stopped touring and decided to make that album. And I mean, we didn't tour for 3 years. We didn't do anything.
Okay.
Except record an album. We were trying to, you know, put everything we had into this album to make sure it was going to be an album that people could listen to in 20, 30 years from now, you know?
Yeah.
So we just kind of focused on that. And then we came back out with that and things just kind of blew up, you know? We had great success on the radio for an unsigned band. You know, we did all this on our own, you know? So to achieve what we achieved, you know, was pretty cool. You know, we were pretty all, you know, felt really good about that and pretty excited about it every day. So that, you know, having your songs on the radio when you're out on tour is always, you know, super helpful too, you know, for people to remember you. It's like, oh man, I hear your songs all the time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's my experience as well. It's like, yeah, these guys are coming to town. Like it's rad.
And, you know, that's the way we still get excited that way when we see bands that we're into, you know, it's like we had that same feeling, you know, it's like, man, I can't wait to see so-and-so, you know, I can't wait to see these guys live, you know, that was pretty cool.
So you've had some time to think over the last, 9 or 10 months here. So what's going on with Messer right now?
Man, right now we're still not doing a whole bunch. We kind of got together and, you know, we're working on some new material. Maddox right now, our bass player, is actually producing some other stuff at our studio. He's got some projects that he's working on in there right now, which is really cool. I popped in on him the other day and was checking some of that out. And, you know, everyone else is kind of doing their own things for a minute, you know. Yeah. So I'm just kind of taking advantage of this time to, you know, start this knife business and get it going, so which is cool.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah, dude, absolutely, man. I'm super stoked about this.
So like in the intro, you know, I gave a nod to the fact you're a co-owner of Two Headed Dog Knives and Knife Works.
Knife Works. Knife
So
work.
how'd you get into knife making? And then where's the name come from first?
Yeah, well, okay. First off, the name comes from Rocky Erickson. I don't know if you know who Rocky Erickson is, but he was the guy who he's like a Swedish guy, but he's from, I think, from the Dallas area years ago. And I mean, if you don't know him, you need to look him up. But he has a song called Two-Headed Dog, and that's kind of where we got the name from. But his other hit, he wrote, "If You Have Ghost," and the band Ghost covered it. So that was his original song. So I, suggest everyone look him up, man. Rocky Erickson, Roky.
Uh, oh, which song by Ghost?
If you have ghost, you
Uh,
have everything. That was his song.
okay. That's
They did a
rad.
great cover of it, but yeah, that was his song.
Okay, so
So yeah, that's what it was. I mean, that's where we got the name from. But basically, a buddy of mine from all the way back to junior high school, he had posted a knife he had made on Facebook, and I'm like, "What's up with that, dude? You're making some knives?" And that show Forged in Fire. I don't know if you've seen Forged in Fire yet. Oh man, you got to watch Forged in Fire. That's kind of where it all spawned for him. He started off because he saw that show and is like, "I want to make a knife," and so I saw that he was making them, and then we had this time off, and I'm like, dude, I want to come over and make a knife.
yeah.
Because, we both watch that show all the time, and it's like super cool, It's like, oh, I want to do this. So I went over to his place and made a knife, and I was like, I'm hooked. My last name's Messer, which translates to knife in German. So, it only seemed fitting that I would do, a knife company. So, man, we started making knives, and next thing you know, we're getting orders, from fans and from friends, and so like, let's make a business.
Heck yeah. So
Yeah.
like
So his
what
wife does our handles, and man, we're just constantly trying to create new styles, and right now we're just basically filling orders. We've
what
been pretty blessed. It's starting to take off a little bit for us. So.
what's the process of making a knife? Like what's it like?
Well, man, there's a couple different ways to go about it, and the way we're currently doing it is we basically design a knife. We'll get on the computer, come up with a knife design that we like, print that off, and then we'll get steel, big old bars of steel.
Yeah.
We use like 1084, 1095. We're starting to expand into some different steels. Maybe we're going to mess with some stainless before long, but basically high carbon steels. Ones that you can sharpen up real nice and will keep an edge on it for you. And basically, once you get that design, you put it on there, then you're going to cut that thing out with a bandsaw. And then you got to bevel it, do all your bevels, all your grinding on it, get it to the thickness that you want it. Then we pick our handle material. We source handle material from all over the world, really. We get some of our stuff all the way from, Holland. We get stuff from overseas, the UK all the time. So
Yeah.
whatever kind of cool handle material we can find. And we're starting to make our own handle material now as well. And man, we just, we get with our customers and ask them kind of what they want. What are you looking for? What's the knife going to be used for? And right now we're focusing a lot on the Serbian style knives that you see a lot on those videos, the guys out in the forest cutting real quietly, and
Yeah.
we're doing those. We're building knives like this bad boy right here.
Oh,
My
whoa.
kukri.
Yeah, that's rad, man.
Dude, this thing right here is
What's
a
that called?
kukri.
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 And
So it's
what's it traditionally used for? Is in like what part of the world is that from? That looks
that's from like
like something you
India.
see in like a Persian like film.
Exactly. It's
Okay.
exactly what it would be for. We just gave one of these away. Actually, we had a contest and we actually just gave one away, and the guy won it, and man, he was super excited. Let me plug this right here real quick.
Yeah, no
And
worries.
a buddy of mine won it, man, and dude, it's super cool. Super heavy, but we do a lot of chef knives now too.
Okay.
A lot of chef knives, a lot of kukris, a lot of hunting knives, drop point hunters, skinners. Everything. You name it. We can make it. I made a tomahawk for a buddy of mine too, and never made one of those before. And we built him a tomahawk. Made the handle, forged the head. Dude, it was pretty beast too.
You're lit up about this thing, man. That's a lot of what this podcast is about, is like passion projects that turn
Dude,
into
it's so much
businesses.
fun, man. It's
Chasing
so
the
fun.
opportunity,
Yeah, it's super cool. It's fun. We have a good time doing it, man. And it's just, to get in there and take, and use your hands to make this stuff, and you're forging this stuff. We have some of them, we heat up them in the forge and we pound them, we put all the dings on them and everything like that as well. And then eventually we're going to get to where we get a big, huge press, like a 50,000 ton press. And we're going to start, doing some Damascus, as well, forging our own stuff. So
what is Damascus?
Damascus, it's the ones that have the different, we have some on our website too. I'll have to send everybody to our website to check them out. But basically they do tons and tons of layers of different steels. It creates a pattern etched on the blade.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
That's awesome. Well, I can, I've got your website up right now. Let me,
oh, do you?
Yeah,
TwoDogKnives.com.
Yeah, let me do a quick screen share real quick here, and maybe you can take me through a couple of these things just so I can get a little bit of an education.
There we go.
Let me get a little zoom in here. Oh. All right, so you got some cutting boards here, but let's get down to some of this. Oh, these Damascus here. So maybe that's not the
yes.
View.
Now, some of our Damascus on there, we've imported some. We've got took us about it took us about 3 months to find it and source the right one. But we did import some Damascus blades just because we had some customers that really were into Damascus. So we wanted to have that option for them. But everything else you see, we've made on there.
Oh, dude,
that's one of our chef knives right there that we made. That is a Mexican Bacote handle on that thing, and that knife is sharp, razor sharp.
Dude, that thing looks mean.
Yeah, dude, it's a sexy knife. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
And we just finished up that purple handled one up there as well.
Oh, excuse me, which one? This one?
Go it down up a little bit more here on the very top. It's right there on the right corner.
Yep.
Yeah.
The
Tina did an amazing job on that handle.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, that's a custom handle as well. But we do all custom stuff, for people. We find out what they're into, their color patterns they're into, what they want to see on it, and then we just incorporate all that stuff into it. A buddy of mine is a former Navy guy, and we made him a Navy themed knife. Yeah, that's one of the Damascus ones right there. If you click on that blade, you can see the details on it, all the different patterns on it.
Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it right in there.
See that? Kind of looks layers and layers and layers of steel that have been pressed together.
Okay. Dude, that is. So, I mean, really, there's what I'm picking up here, and maybe this is shattering a little bit of my assumption going into this, is like, this is really an art form too. Like, of the same way that you can express yourself through music, you can certainly express yourself through the creation of these knives, because there's not necessarily there's a right way and a wrong way to do it, maybe, but there's maybe there's a lot of room to play. And maybe I would,
dude, for sure. Dude, every bit of the knife is, because we customize these things to like I said, as far as sourcing handle material, the different kinds of material, real wood, synthetic materials to bone. We do everything, and that's the creative side for me. Is I love to put together the different schemes on the different patterns on there. We all throw ideas in there, into the hat and say, hey, what was going to make this knife pop the most? And that's kind of what we do.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, see, I love those right there too. That's my kukri in the middle, but that one on the right, that's a Serbian chef knife. And we make quite a few of those. Those have become real popular. That's my personal one right there. But we make, I bet we make probably about 6 to 8 of those a month.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a real beefy knife.
How long does something like this take to make?
Just
depends.
That right there,
hours?
Yeah, hours and hours. Tina spends so many hours just on the handles, just to get them that high polish like that walnut handle was.
Yeah.
It takes, a lot of time. A lot of time to get those handles that polished. And, and then Scott spends a lot of time on sharpening them as well. So we got a little routine set up in there, how we work them. And then we started branching off into making some other stuff. I think I sent you a picture as well of some of the scrap art that I'm making right now as well.
Yeah, let me pull.
I've been messing with some scrap art, taking the high carbon steel, the little cutoffs when we make a knife. And I've been making some keychains / jewelry, whatever you'd want it for. And, we have that so it can all be engraved as well. And we do a lot of that too. We customize the knives as well by letting them allow them to, we can get their names engraved on them. We have a guy that can do high carbon steel for us, so he can put your initials on a knife and engrave whatever you want on there. So it's pretty cool.
Yes. This is a cool photo here, by the way.
Oh man, I appreciate it. Yeah, that's people love the kukris, man. Just a big beefy knife. We have another big knife we're making right now. Yeah, I love that one. Yeah, there it is right there. That's some of mine. And each one of those are unique because I grind each one of them differently. They all have their, unique characteristics on them. And then I'm just stringing them up like that. And like I said, I can etch on them anything you want, but I think I'll probably be adding these all to our website this week for sure too.
Yeah, just again, another avenue for artistic expression, right? I mean, just
Man,
like,
it is. It really is. It's, and I'm doing cutting boards and stuff now too. And that's just another way, it's like, it's another avenue for me to get stuff out there, and still be, creative and
yeah,
it's fun, especially working with my friend from junior high school. I mean, we've known each other forever.
that's rad. Like, what's the knife making culture like, or the subculture around knife making?
Well, I tell you what, man, I didn't realize how big it is, but it's a huge community. I mean, there are pages, groups on, social media pages that, focus on just the knife handle material or just the steel or just all the components, the pins that you use for the knife handles. There's people out there who that's all they do is focus on those pins. They make custom pins for you, mosaic pins. So, it's a huge, huge family out there of people that are really into knives. I had no idea. I was always into knives as a kid, but I had no idea, how massively huge that whole genre was until you start making them. And then you're like, there's people on there every day. Hey, looking for knife makers. Can you make me this? Who can make that? Whatever like that, and selling all their handle material. So now we're trying to start sourcing our own, like wood. You want to go out and find some really nice wood. We just made one the other day. I have to send you some more pictures of those soon, show you our other knives that we have done with. We go out to the woods and we source our own wood and we'll chop it down, bring it back, process it, dry it out, stain it, whatever we do, and then we'll put it on the handle.
Dude, that is awesome. And were you always into stuff like this as a kid, like craftsman type stuff, or is like,
man, I didn't realize how much I was into it until I started doing it. I mean, growing up as a kid, I was into knives, always had, a buck knife, pocket knives and stuff like that, and throwing stars and everything. But once you start doing it with your, making them with your hands, you're just like, man, this is really a cool thing. I think I just saw recently too, Nikki Sixx is starting getting into making knives. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Definitely, as I was looking into knife making, and as I see a couple folks that I'm close to here in Idaho that are also, making knives for fun, making knives for friends, posting it on social media. I'm like,
sure.
This kind of feels like remember when people were brewing beer, and now all of a sudden there's an entire industry of like, there's breweries all over the place. And it just kind of feels like we're at the very kind of beginnings of maybe a focus of society back on craftsmanship, like an appreciation of mastery and individual creation, because so much of our world is automated now.
Right.
So much of our world is commoditized and repackaged and Costco'd or, whatever it is. And, when we look back at something handcrafted that somebody's put time and effort into, and then
dude, that's it. Handmade. People want handmade stuff again. It's really a big thing out there for that, American made, handmade something. I want something that's not perfect. People tell me that all the time. It's like, well, I don't want that to, that knife to look like it's machine made. I'm like, don't worry. It won't look that way because we're not doing that. We're using our hands making these things. So there is a big group of people out there that, want that feeling again. They want handmade, something they can say, this is unique to me, and we're glad that we're able to do that, and offer that service.
Yeah, and maybe unpack a little bit more your mindset, like going into this discipline or this area. Like, how was it like sitting down and saying, all right, I'm going to start making a whole bunch of knives?
Well, you know what? It was kind of, we started getting people hitting me up every day wanting a knife. So it's kind of like we got tossed into it,
Okay.
I mean, we haven't even really advertised this thing yet. You know what I mean? So it's just been just fans, basically fans and some friends, and now some family members. You know, we're just it just kind of happened. Man, it just literally just kind of happened overnight. Once we posted a few of them, it's like people started hitting us up. Hey, I want one. I want one. So it's like, all right. So now my motto is people ask me, can you do this? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can, but I'm going to sure try.
That is such an important message, and it's a message that I try to push through this podcast, having folks like yourself who are, you know, artists, and, you know, people are just chasing the yes. Like, yeah, of course I'm going to do this. Yeah, I get
Yeah,
value out of this. You get value out of it too. Great. Like, let's figure that
that's
out.
it.
What a cool relationship we get to have now, based on maybe this item or this thing that transfers ownership between my creation and your appreciation. And there's so many opportunities for people to dig within themselves and find out, like, what is that thing? What is that hobby you can put in your life that's better than sitting in front of the television?
Dude, absolutely. Everyone's got it in them. You know what I mean? There's got to be something that drives you. And, you know, and if you're not having fun with it, you know what I mean? I don't wake up every day and go, oh, I dread doing this. I'm so excited. I can't sleep at night because I'm thinking of what can I do next? You know, what can we make next? How can we improve on this? You know what I mean? So, um, I love it, man. I just think it's a great, you know, physical way to work with your hands, and to be artistic, be creative, and to be able to share your talents, you know, and your passion with other people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, you know, and you know, getting to talk to my fans like that one on one, you know, with them when they call me to work on a knife, you know, it's kind of cool still. You know what I mean? Because they are fans and they become friends through this, you know, and it's really cool.
You ever make a big old, like, Japanese, like, katana ninja type sword?
Not yet, but definitely in the works.
Okay.
I mean, believe me, we have so many knives we want to make. We're just like, you know, it's the time right now. It's just to get them done. You know what I mean? So
All right. Well,
definitely going to.
all right, I'm gonna have to hit you up for like I got a little JB logo that maybe we can try to figure out how to get into a handle or something like that.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
That'd be
We
pretty
can for
fun.
sure do that. You need to come to town, man, and make a knife with us. That'd be super fun.
Dude, 100%. I'm game. I've actually got a little web series called Out Jakes, and I do all kinds of weird stuff, like fencing or flying in helicopters and doing all
Right
kinds of weird
on.
stuff, man. And if travel restrictions get a little bit easier,
Sure.
let's make that happen. And I
Dude,
love that area, man. I'm from
super
the South
cool.
originally. I'm originally from Louisiana.
We
Definitely have some.
love Louisiana, man. Yeah, yeah. Love Louisiana. Go there as much as I can, you know. But yeah, dude, anytime you're welcome, man. Come on down. We can do do your little podcast from there,
That's
and
what's up.
we'll make some knives, man. We'll have some fun.
Dude, I'm all about that, my friend. Hey, let's start wrapping this thing up.
Sure.
Where can people find you? Where can they find the band? Where can they find Two-Headed Dog Knives? Where should they go look?
Sure.
And I'll put those links
Yeah, yeah, dude, for
below.
sure, man. I appreciate that. Messerband.com. Messerband.com. Go there. I mean, of course, we're on all the social media sites as well. We try to keep stuff, you know, updated, but we also have a Messer Machine page on Facebook as well. And that's a great page too, where all of our fans kind of get together and communicate with each other on the daily basis. We're
Awesome.
always posting stuff and reaching out to each other, with really cool community as well. But Messer Band, you can always find all of our stuff there. We got videos out there on YouTube everywhere, you know, still merch. We have a lot of merch left, man, because we're supposed to be on tour selling it. So probably have like a merchathon here soon and have a big sell on that as well.
Okay.
And then Two-Headed Dog Knife Works is our page on Facebook. Two-Headed Dog Knives, plural, knives.com is our website. Hit me up. I'm on Facebook. You know, I'm on everywhere, Instagram. You know, if you want a knife, hit me up. We'll talk about it and we'll come up with something cool and creative for you. And if you just want to chat about music, whatever, hit me up.
Derek, I love it, man. Hey, again, thank you again for carving out some time for me today, and just sharing your story online about
Absolutely, man.
music and craftsmanship, man. I certainly appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate you, Jake, and hope to see you guys real soon.
All right. Best to you.